Aloha, fuckers.
Hello. I think you've set the tone there. Yeah, so
Go ahead.
I'm just looking in the chat. There's a few people here. I know that timing has changed. So Arran, it's 11 o'clock for him, so he won't be able to be making it. And there's a few, because he's quite busy at work, so for the next few weeks, it's unlikely he'll be around. And I know, like, Corey's in the chat. He said it's 11 for him as well, so he's not sure how long he'll last.
Lightweights.
But and you're changing next month, I think, Scott, to be an hour earlier.
I don't remember exactly when it happens.
I've got a feeling someone said November the 5th. And the reason I remember that is November the 5th is a day that we celebrate, is that the right word? Here in the UK with fireworks and things to celebrate when someone tried to blow up Parliament and didn't succeed. So I don't know if we should be celebrating the succession or the non-succession of it. I don't know.
Yeah, it does sound funny. Yay, explosives! Or yay, it didn't work. That's actually smart. That way everybody, regardless of your opinion, can have a good time.
Yeah, exactly. It leads to quite a few interesting things. So I live near the coast, and there's a village nearby that do a big celebration, but it's pirate themed. So they have a night of lots of people dressing up, marching through town. It used to be a little village where smugglers would come in and out. And there's also a town nearby which is really big, which has a massive fireworks celebration that I've never managed to go to, because it's, unless you're local, it's almost impossible to get into town because they close all the roads off and things.
Wow. Pirate Fest sounds kind of fun.
Yeah.
Would it be at least be fun to see?
Yeah, the photos of it always look good.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is have, I think, me and Scott can do this time. There might be sometimes when Arran's on where we do it a little bit earlier, but then that'd be too early for Scott because obviously it'd be middle of night. And then we might do some in the evening in America, depending on who can join us. I'm more flexible with work, so it's easier for me to be up at odd times. How much do pirates pay for their ear piercings? This is a joke from Rob. I don't know, Rob, how much do pirates pay for their ear piercing? This is scintillating streaming here.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Well, we might not find out. About a buccaneer. Buccaneer. I guess it's in the delivery, and I assume our sort of stinted slow delivery didn't work there.
I guess it's the delivery. Oh, Lordy. So we were talking about doing, talking about builds that we found interesting. Yeah. Not necessarily GGBO.
Yeah, so I actually went through my Instagram feed because there's certain builders that when their instruments pop up, I'm like, oh, I love that. I'm glad to see that image. And then I go back and look at more of their own page. But yeah, I was trying to remember some that I'd seen in the past who maybe haven't posted recently as well, and going back and looking through my sort of older bookmarked posts from Instagram. I don't know. Did you have any sort of way of? Do you have ones that just spring to your mind?
No, no. I had a tough time with it. Before GGBO, there weren't a lot of builders I was aware of, honestly. You know, the big ones that most people are, but none of their builds really jumped out at me. So honestly, I kind of looked at some GGBO people this year. I've got some builds that I think are pretty awesome. I should have gone back and looked at previous years because there were some in there that were really eye-catching. Mark comes to mind immediately.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because when I was looking back through my bookmarked guitars on my Instagram feed, one of them was Ty's Shot the Fox from the first year he did it with the kind of radiating sun chopped up. I still think that's brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. Years ago, I did one that was it was quite a few fewer slices of pie, but it was between a bird's eye maple and Purple Heart, and it wound up looking like, I don't know, a Knights Templar or Umbrella Corp or something like that, and it was a pain in the ass. But never would have occurred to me to take curly maple and do that pie style. That was pretty awesome. Yeah,
I guess the things that stand out for me that I remember in builds are when people have done something I wouldn't expect or think looks quite different. A lot of the things that I'm going to show are things that are very visual and just different from what is very common in guitar building, maybe.
Yeah. Well, something I've noticed, and I don't know why it is, it's the strange things, the crazy things, the technically different, or the things that I look at and think, how did they do that? Those are the things that grab me. And most guitar people, I think a lot of people hate the shape that I've been doing recently. It's just not, a Strat or a Tele or a Les Paul. Guitar people are weird.
Mm. I know we always say about how people they have their particular favorite shapes and ones they hate. Like I used to be when I first played, I was playing a Strat and I hated Teles. And I think that kind of ergonomic design of yours is something that people really feel uneasy looking at because it looks so different. But I bet they'd be different if they were playing it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I've said a few times, I set out just to make the most ergonomic design I could come up with, and basically came up with a Strandberg. And I didn't even know Strandberg was a thing at the time. And now I really want a Strandberg. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. People are weird.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's always I heard it again yesterday, the tone wood talk. I think people read about things that they think are important, or the way when they read about it, they think they like it. But it's hard to know unless you played something if that's what you like or not, which is, I guess, why so many of the ones I've picked there's something about the aesthetics that looks different, because I can't play any of these small build guitars or these smaller companies because I don't have access to them unless I was to buy one.
Yeah. Well, a lot of things I've done as a builder, one is because, it's different. But two, largely because this is the only chance I would have to play a multi-scale guitar in Texas, or an asymmetrically carved neck, or a lot of things like that. I just wouldn't have access to it if I didn't actually make one and try it,
That seems a really good reason to do it, really.
Yeah. But something new comes along, like, I can't say new, but something different you run across, like multi-scale. As a builder, just those things you feel like, I feel like I need to have done it once at least. I got to know that I can do this just in case I need to sometime. Yeah.
Yeah, I find that with even things that I've done before, when you see someone doing it a different way, you think, I need to try to do it this way as well, even if it's just to compare and to reassure you that the way you do it is the right way for you. It's always interesting seeing different takes and things. So
recently I've been thinking about doing some just slightly brain-bending type of builds, like a stupid Tele that's multi-scale, which fry people's brains. I wanted to do something that I call a Tele, just because it's got, the Tele At least the electronics, not the rest of the hardware necessarily, but at least a telly type electronic setup, and that looks completely different from a damn telly. You know, something of my own design, and I call it a telly because I think, and I don't know this for sure, but I feel like it's the electronic setup that gives it its iconic tone. You know, and really, I think that iconic tone is the only thing that really makes a telly a telly. And I think that's what people really like about a telly, you know, other than an aesthetic that they're just used to seeing somebody play.
Yeah, I think people definitely have tones and things they associate with certain guitars and certain styles of music. Yeah, like I don't know enough about all the different types of tellies, but you get like the Nashville ones that have got humbuckers in them. So there's a whole range that have got a humbucker connected to the bridge saddle plate, and then there's some that are 3 pickups, a bit more like a Strat as well. But they all have that standard, I think anyway. The neck pickups always seem to be the same, and then they always have the same looking setup with the 1 volume, 1 tone selector. But then I might be wrong. I'm not an expert. As I discovered through the internet, there's always people that are more experts than me at every single thing.
Yeah.
One of my favorite groups that makes me feel really, I was about to say inferior, that's not the word, but not geeky enough, is I follow Guitars of James Hetfield Facebook page. And people seem to know every single guitar he's ever played, where he's played it, what changes he's made to the electronics in it, what happened at this point in the guitar's history to cause it to have a different strat. Yeah, it's crazy.
That is crazy. Some people have too much time on their hands.
Yeah.
Well,
right. So do you want to, should I get in with a quick share?
Sure.
I will try to just do a few, and then we can go backwards and forwards. So I picked up this guy. Oh, no, sorry. I've lost the picture. So it's Godfrey Guitars. Now, a lot of the people I'm going to show, I only know them really through Instagram, sometimes YouTube as well. But the Godfrey Guitars guy, he often used to post reels of him playing his guitars as well and singing. So you could really hear them and see them in action. But from what I gather, he's very recently stopped making guitars to order because for a long time he seems to have had a big waiting list. So he's clearly doing well enough to be able to stop. He's just doing what I know you like doing, making guitars that he wants to make, and then he'll sell them. And he seems to have this thing that he's mentioned a few times recently, that I think there might be a Japanese maybe, or some Chinese company that are just making knockoffs of his guitars and selling them cheap.
Oh my God.
But a lot of his guitars seem to have these very interesting shapes. They're often these kind of very geometric shapes put together. But I like they have a slight mix of woods, or like the one we just saw was wood and plastic, and this has got the kind of tortoise shell bit to it. I just think they look so different.
Unique.
Even the more curvy ones are quite unique. And I love that. And earlier on in his Instagram feed, I don't think there's any on this little bit, you see his little sketches he draws, and they're almost like doodles on a napkin, almost a simple couple of shapes put together, and then you see him turn them into guitars.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a... It's a bit like you're drunk at the pub doing a sketch, and then it comes into a real thing.
Crazy.
But yeah, there's something about the look of them and the materials that I like. But I guess, like a lot of people on Instagram, because he was putting up the reels and talking and things, you get his character as well. So I began to sort of enjoy when he appeared in the post.
See, those are the kind of things that I would dig.
I mean, that looks like just a really wonky Explorer, and something about it that
kind of does, yeah.
Yeah, like something that's got just taken a more traditional shape and made it totally weird. And then there are these sort of ones.
Hmm.
I feel like Devo or someone like that could play them. Oh, there's a Flying V one.
That's cool.
Yeah. Sometimes, actually, let me show you another one then, just quickly. I've only picked them because of these one builds. It's the same sort of thing as what we just saw. It's a shape we recognise, but I just love the way they've changed the pickguard shape and the simple colours. I think it makes it really uniquely theirs.
Yeah.
They've got a few guitar shapes that have these same sort of colours and simple scratch plates on them, but I think they're great. So that was Godfrey Guitars before, and this is Loverlet Guitars.
Mm.
But for this one, I really just picked it because I really like these Flying Vs. I think they're beautiful. I love the kind of wood back, the really pastely, thick-looking colour on the top, and then there's that sort of almost Art Deco scratch plate.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with all of that. Those are pretty awesome.
Cool. I'll stop there with those ones.
I was enjoying the show because I got nothing.
I can keep going if you want.
Go for something.
Literally, it was just pulling out my Instagram feed. If anyone else has got something that they want to put in the chat, that would be great. There was a guitar company that were in my feed a lot for a while, and I haven't seen. And then they went round in the Guitar Builders Collective chat WhatsApp the other day, and I can't remember what they're called. They make the metal guitars that look like a curved sheet of metal, and the pickups are literally attached with a magnet, so you can move them around.
Oh, wow.
Maybe somebody could remind me who they are in the chat, and I'll look up a picture of them. The guitars just look so different from what a guitar looks like, and it's because it's the material they're using, because it's made out of metal. It doesn't need to be solid body. I don't know what it would sound like, but as a result, they've got very thin pickups, a bit like the ones you sometimes get on cigar boxes. And because they're magnetic, you can move it around. Corey's going to look it up.
I had thought about trying to put something together, but and we've seen people do, different variations, but something where you actually could move pickups just to play around with placement, because I've never given it a whole lot of thought. I don't think it makes a whole lot of difference. Some people really have a strong opinion. It'd be cool to have an experiment that would let you play with that.
I have a video that I'll be working on very soon where I'm doing just that, because I've got a guitar setup that I used to test some things on, to test pickups on, and just swap things in and out. And I'm just in the process of setting it up so I can. I don't know what the best way to do it is, but I think I bought some breadboards that I'm going to stick in it, and each breadboard's going to have a slightly different setup. So I can just hook the pickups into the breadboard, so I can see are these pickups better with a 250k pot or a 500k or this capacitor, and just quickly swap it around. But as a result, the pickups can go anywhere on it. So I was thinking I might just slide it backwards and forwards and see what happens. Verso Instruments, thank you, Corey. Let me look that up.
That would be cool.
Yeah, because I'm a big fan of trying something out to see if it actually makes the difference. Like I'm still not convinced on tone wood, but yesterday I heard I mentioned last time Scott's Bass Lessons as a channel I like. Well, I discovered they had a podcast as well, and they had a podcast that was taking place, an event they run every year, which is like a big bass festival. So lots of things happening, lots of talks happening. And the talk they had was between 4 bass guitar builders, very specific bass guitar builders, none of whom I knew, but I'm not that versed in bass guitars. One of them's a really well-known builder, and the other 3 were had been doing it a long time, but maybe more boutique. And they were all convinced that for their basses, the wood makes a massive difference from tone. So some of them have a production line guitar bass that they make, where it's got a different wooden top, and it's not just a veneer, it's quite a thick top. And they make the same bass with the same neck, the same pickups, but with different tops on. And they say you can hear the difference depending on the wood on the top. I'm still not sure I believe that, but they say you can, and I'm still not sure it makes so much difference once it's going through pickups and all your outboard stuff in the amp.
Yeah.
Again, all of them were convinced it was. So they've all done this, and they're all convinced from their actual doing. So I'm not going to argue with them. But
that reminds me, there was a little series I ran across a few years ago that was really awesome and kind of an inspiration for some of the things I was doing. I can't remember what channel it was, but it was about a single boutique guy he went under the brand Wyn basses or Wyn guitars, WYN. I don't remember if it was basses or guitars, but he just made basses. But he made specifically neck through basses. Actually, the idea of tapering stripes that I do in my laminations largely came from watching that series. It was really, really interesting to watch as an early, an early builder. But he would do neck throughs and then, wings just glued onto, so the lamination was visible from the top as well. But his wings, he did multiple layers, and he swore up and down that, when you put wing A with, maple and it has this sound, and, it sounded like alchemy and witchcraft to me. But he swears up and down that, these different combinations of tone woods gave him different sounds. And
yeah, I don't know. I'm sure you might hear something acoustically, but I still doubt when you plug it in. They all said when you plug it in, it still colours the sound. But one of the things that was interesting that all these builders said is the weight makes a massive difference. So in general, for their basses, they don't like them too light because they feel it doesn't give the depth and the sort of resonance. But they understand that sometimes they have clients that come to them that are like wedding band performers who might be playing for 4 or 5 hours with a bass around their neck, so they have to make them lighter. And sometimes they were saying you can get really good deep tones with a lighter wood. So that's, I don't know how contradictory that all sounds, but
well, I have had to just contemplate the reality of if you like, I've got a little cigar box guitar I dink around with sometimes, and it's just leaned up against the wall. If the strings are still ringing when I lean it against the wall, as soon as it touches the wall, it gets infinitely louder. However, that thing, at that moment it's acoustic. It's not the electric sound. I feel like once you plug it in, it's nothing but electronics, and there's so many things that factor into your tone there.
Yeah, I think it's
if there's a little bit of tone definition that comes from the material the thing is made of, it's got to be negligible.
I agree, but then I haven't made as many guitars as they have. Some of them have been doing it 30 years and made hundreds. One of them, he's carrying on his dad's business, so he grew up around guitar making, talking about woods then. Yeah, I don't know. And it also, if you're playing through a metal zone, everything's going to sound the same. So depends what you're using.
It's kind of hard. I had to buy a second amp just so I could get a clean tone. It's kind of hard to get a truly clean tone, a lot of times. It just is.
Yeah.
There's so many things in that signal chain that contribute to the sound. I don't know how you could, make any real determination on the wood.
I mean, I think, Rob's right. Speakers make a massive difference. I have in my workshop just a, what's it called? The Korg Cube, is it Korg? But I've got just a monitor speaker that I plug into. I thought it might colour things a bit less, but doesn't really matter. It's just for when I really only use it to check everything's working, set up and play for a bit. I've just recently rearranged my setup, so I've got a couple of pedals attached to my wall, so it's all in place ready. So I can just get a little bit of drive on it when I want to try it. But
well, I'm thinking about the recording software I have, or the signal processing I have, is Amplitude, and I mean, you can change the position of the microphone in front of the speaker. You can change the microphones in front of the speaker. Yeah. All of those things make a tonal difference.
Yeah. In fact, the pedal I've got, it's just a cheap Behringer pedal, in fact. And it's an amp. It's like, does a copy of 3 different amps. What is it? What would it be? It's a Marshall, a Fender, and something else. But it on each one, it has like high gain, low gain, and mic position. So you can change the mic position from where it might be picking up the sound. It's all just gimmicky, but it does give you such a range of sounds that I quite liked it.
Yeah.
Oh, is the MS2 that Rob's just mentioned in the chat, is that the little battery powered thing?
I've got a tiny little Marshall battery powered thing, and it's garbage. It's just it's cute. It was the word escapes me. Basically just a toy. You see something at the music store, hey, I need that, even though it's $30. But I kept it in the shop just for a quick, easy plug-in, just so I can, bang on pickups and make sure it's wired right. Yeah.
I took I had the same one, and I took it apart and put the whole unit inside a little ukulele I had.
That's awesome.
It sort of worked. It was because of the way that it was a cheap ukulele. It just had a bit of weird echoey feedback stuff happening. Hey, look, so as someone mentioned, it was Verso Instruments. Let me share that. I found their Instagram page. There's a demo here of someone playing.
I'm going to step 3 feet away and get a cup of coffee. Nobody freak out.
Annoyingly, I can't on Instagram here. I can't jump backwards and forwards, but I think this is the demo I saw where he moves the pickups. But you can see they are surface mounted. They're magnet on it.
I have seen the design. I didn't notice the pickups.
Yeah. So here where he's saying effects on highs and lows, it's because you can see he's moved the pickups so they're right under the bass or right under the high bit, the high strings. Whereas earlier on there was another shot where they were much more parallel with the bridge.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just like the look of it. I'd only, like you, only ever seen the design, the photos and the look of it. And then to see that demo where it was being played and realizing that so much of it is versatile with those magnetic pickups. Do you know what? Actually, I think I'd seen, I know that even this wood-covered one looks like it moves.
It doesn't look very comfortable.
That's true. It's a stand-up only one, maybe. Oh, wait, here's someone sitting down.
Yeah, with a strap. That's cool.
Annoyingly, I had the sound off at the beginning, so we missed the slide.
Now, if you just had a control that would automatically move the pickup, you have like a slider or a pot,
Yeah.
That would be insane. I don't know how you can believe
that. Okay, so I've got this open. I'll show you Debbie Bowes. I love this guy. I'll show you his instruments in a minute, but he put this up the other day. He It says here he hit a spider web with some white spray paint and then put it on the body and clear coated on top. So that's actually a spider web stuck to the body.
God, that would be hard to do.
Yeah, I can't picture how you could do that, really.
Unless he just, held it up and walked it through the web.
Yes, that must be it. Still, it's so cool. Anyway,
that looks awesome.
He makes these that his instruments often have 2 or 3 strings on. Let me find like this one again. It's a bit like the Godfrey guitars I showed you at the beginning. It's sort of a weird shape. Oh, that's a 6-string. Oh.
That's crazy.
I can't imagine what that would be like to play. It's definitely about visuals, but there's such a lot of attention to detail. Sorry, scrolling like this, probably making everyone feel a bit sick. There's a really cool headstocks coming up somewhere. Oh, here it is.
Interesting.
Yes, his instruments just seem like every time they're very varied, very different. The first time I saw them, though, he had one. I'm not sure if it's on here. It was just made. Oh yeah, look, this one. Is this one made from an old? That looks like an old handle from like a pickaxe or something. But he had made from a big clamp.
That looks like some of the things that cigar box people do.
Yeah, well, that's how I found him through Shane Spill, the cigar box guy. I really like. Oh, there it is. So here we go. So he's put these clamps in.
That's awesome.
And then he strung them up. So Shane had one, which is where I saw it. There isn't one strung up here. That's annoying. But yeah, really cool idea. I just like that idea of sort of seeing something around and thinking, oh, that could work as a guitar.
Yeah.
And then they're making it happen.
Yep. Well, you watch Justin Johnson stuff and you see, the shovel guitars. That's, a lot of people do that. But, it just opens up your mind to the idea of anything that's got something, a long piece on it could, be turned into a damn guitar.
Absolutely. I'm just going back looking through the chat.
I don't know what in the world I would do with a 1-string guitar, but
no, there's a really cool guy on Facebook, Cigar Box something or other. I'll try and dig him out in a minute. Who has lots of 1-string or 2-string instruments, and he just does demos on them. And they're always like loads of drive and really rocking, and it sounds absolutely awesome. As with anything, when you see someone that can really play it, you just think, well, I didn't know these instruments could make those sounds.
Yeah. Yeah, but less than 2, I don't know. But maybe I'm just not that creative musically.
The first time I saw a 1-string was one of those really long, I think they call them diddly bows.
Yeah.
And it was I'm having a brain freeze here, from Primus, Les Claypool. I saw Primus live, and he had an upright one, and it had a big sort of bit at the top that was like a wiggle stick. So you could change the tuning with it. So he was sort of playing his bit and then going up to the top and moving around, and in his inimitable way, it just sounded absolutely awesome.
Yeah. Here, I got
Scatterlee. So Corey's recommending Scatterlee. Let's see if I can find him on Instagram.
Well, in the meantime, I do have something to look at.
Oh, cool. Someone complained about my keyboard noises last week. So I bought a new one. I haven't plugged it in yet, but it might be a bit quieter.
I would be inclined to say, quit your crying. But, when we've only got a handful of people watching.
Can't find many Scatterlees.
Restrung did this little documentary on wind guitars. And it's a super awesome little series to watch. I don't remember how many examples you actually get to see of what he made, but I know this happened to be one. Okay, well, all right.
Mm.
That's interesting.
Oh, wow.
Now I want to do that. I don't remember.
The guy you were talking about that had the through necks and was saying the different sides that he put on. Yeah.
Yeah. Except the examples they're showing now don't all look like that, because he had a sandwich with like multiple layers of, maybe a 1/4 inch thick layers for the wings. Yeah. I was going to talk about, some of the interesting things from GGBO this year. One of them happened to be Mixed Guitars, who's on the stream at the moment.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's where his is shaping up to be. And when I saw this in frame, I thought, I mean, it's too late to mention it, but wouldn't it be cool if the body stripes, fell in line with the change in the multi-scale?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Mick. But every time I see something like this where, it's the deconstructed, there's chunks of it missing, but, it's still more of a classic shape. Those are always cool too. I remember Ben did something like that at some point. Sent to the Gulag just recently popped back up in this year's competition, and it's looking like it might be a pretty interesting build. This dude's ukulele, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. We'll just show it on screen. But every time somebody's doing a little ukulele type thing, I'm interested to see how that goes.
All right.
Chris, I love watching his videos, and he's just not doing that many this year. He finds something that he thinks is interesting, worth showing a video on, and it's always just fascinating.
Yeah, I noticed on Instagram he's put a few extra posts up recently of reels, and I'm just always like staring at his jigs, trying to work out exactly how they work or how they're made. They work smart themselves. Yeah.
I don't remember if it was this video or the previous one, but I had to make a comment. He had this, it was a simple little jig just for determining the angle. And it was genius, and it was so simple.
Yep.
And I'm like, why didn't I think of that before? And, he said, I stole it from, the idea from somebody I saw somewhere, and I was thinking, well, I mean, that's kind of how a lot of this gets done.
Exactly. Oh, is that there it is? Yeah.
So simple.
Very clever. So some of you know that tomorrow I've got a YouTube video coming out, which is like a compilation of different contributors have put things together for it, called Luthier's Lunch Break. So I've got something from Chris, and he's doing a little series where he's just talking about everyday objects that he has in his workshop and how he uses them. Yeah. In ways that they're not designed to be used. And I started, it's only like 4 minutes long maybe, because it starts with an introduction about him, and I already have ideas of things that I'm going to be taking from it. And just his general setup. While he was talking at the beginning, I was looking at his boiler that's behind him on the wall, and it's covered in magnets with things stuck on it. I was thinking, I've got loads of metal things in my workshop and not enough magnets, clearly. Yeah, brilliant.
Every time he puts something out, it's fascinating. I love watching his stuff. Yeah, and I think it was this most recent video. He talks about the fact that he hasn't been doing that many videos because, editing and all that's not fun. And my God, I can relate, but yeah. Anywho, this year, one of the most interesting ones I've seen so far is Tunguska. And I don't know that I could find a good picture of the whole thing. I've seen thumbnails or something that gives you a pretty good indication of what the overall plan is eventually. So I don't know if he's, like me, where his build is way far ahead of his videos or not. But this one looks super interesting. I've really been interested in seeing how this one turns out.
I really am behind watching the videos. Last year, I loved his series. I thought he was really entertaining. They were well edited.
Yeah.
He covered things that, you can watch lots of videos and they all seem quite similar, but he was covering things that other people hadn't, I think, like how he went and bought his wood and picked his wood.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think he was the one that had a custom mill set up in his front yard to cut up a tree that he had around. And the only other one I was going to mention today was Child of Animus. Catching on the upstroke. Early on, I was like, I don't know, but the fabric choice turned out to be pretty interesting. So even though it's fairly standard shape, the fabric choice turned out to look pretty interesting. It's still fairly abstract, but it's colorful. It's just, yeah.
I like the way he's got it around the sides as well.
Yeah.
And with the binding, I guess, to hide the joins.
Yeah.
His builds are always really interesting, aren't they?
Yeah, they tend to be.
He does make a lot of videos. I just noticed this is part 39.
Yeah, well, he does like 5 minutes videos of this year. I hate to sound like I'm talking bad about him. He this year he's been real. He hadn't put a lot of work into the videos, so it's like 5 minutes of him sanding or something.
Or maybe there'll be a super edit at the end. His videos always were quite complex.
Yeah. Well, last year when he got in, he put a lot of effort into them, and but I can't criticize, But his videos haven't been quite as much fun to watch this year. Let's just say that.
I went off on a tangent with him and watched his music videos as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of his early videos that I saw had his music in the background.
Yeah.
And he directed me to his actual music itself and the videos he'd made for them, and they're all really entertaining and good too.
Yeah.
Ooh. Look, Corey put up a link to the scatter various. Oh, I love this curve on the back. Well, it feels weird seeing a guitar with such a big curve on it. It feels more like an acoustic. What's that? Ovation. They have those big curvy backs. Let's go back up to the violin. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
There's something about it that looks quite metal as well. It almost looks like a skull, an upside down skull.
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you a couple more that I picked out that I always like when they appear in my feed. There's filler-tone instruments. Now, this was the one that caught my eye initially. It's not all, but a lot of it is 3D printed. I think the frets aren't, but the fretboard is. And he had this, or they had this, I don't know who it is behind it, as a one of their sort of initial prototypes. But it's not one they've taken forward. They also have this little one. And this is the one that they seem to have put much more development into. And if I skip now to the current one, so this is where it is at the moment. I think the aim is you're going to be able to buy it or just buy the files to print it off at home. And they're trying to make everything in it 3D printed.
That's
and then
crazy.
Fused together.
Crazy.
What I found interesting is just seeing it sort of develop.
Yeah.
Oh, look, there's a demo of it here. not the sound I was expecting to be coming out of that.
Shape and size kind of reminds me of the Lego guitar.
Yeah. I guess the size is something to do with the printing and making it easy to print on a standard print bed. Oh, look, it's got like an aluminium extruded piece going through the middle. It's the truss rod.
That would make sense. Because I'm thinking, at least, a PLA printer, the stuff it would output would be, it'd be hard to make it sturdy enough to, hold strings. But it's an interesting idea.
And then I wanted to show Grip Brothers. I like them because what I find with them is, and again, I'm saying them, I don't know if it really is a team of brothers, but they do relic finishes, but quite extreme relics. I always find their takes slightly different. I'd never seen something like this with the kind of, it's not quite a spider web, it looks more like a cartoon explosion coming from the bottom.
Yeah.
But they always seem to have new, really over-the-top finishes that I really like. It almost looks like crocodile skin, part of that.
Yeah.
So this is like, you're not buying it because it's a true relic. You're buying it because it's this extreme visual thing. I love it.
Those are cool.
So that one before was Filatone, and this was Grip Brothers. I think there's definitely a taste of the ones I seem to bookmark. This company, Brute Bass, remind me of the Godfrey guitars as well.
I need to spend more time poking around on Instagram.
I spend too much time poking around on Instagram. I think that's the problem. It's just an easy one to kind of waste a bit of time on really quickly.
Well, seeing what other people do, even if it's not something you're interested in, the fact that, you can still get inspiration and good ideas from that kind of stuff.
So I don't know if I'm going to flick through this. I don't know if this is the one, but there's a post of this one where you see it taken apart. Oh, there it is. I just love the idea of it being layered like that and how it fits together.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
So I find this Instagram account, I just find the shapes and the way things are made just quite not necessarily something I want to play all the time. Like, I don't think I really like these, but I like the concept of it as well. It's just that I find it inspirational when I see something, even if it's not something I like, that someone's taken an idea and run with it.
Yep.
But I absolutely love this one. It's so cool.
That is pretty cool.
I got to just stop saying, "Oh, it's so cool. I really like it." And then Indra Guitars, I bookmarked this ages ago. I don't know if it's got. It says it's only 3 weeks old. Maybe I didn't bookmark it, or maybe there's an older post of it. I love the guitars that appear on this feed, but they also are a company that do etching into pick cards, so you can send in your images to use as well. And I just find them really interesting, just seeing the new pick cards that appear on their feed every now and then.
That is cool. Kind of reminds me of CS Guitars last year. The Guitarton.
Oh, I can't remember that one.
Really? He was in the Invitational.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
I think he had custom etched brass. I don't remember.
Like these ones with the added colour. Yeah, so just getting the like that then with the custom etched brass, just seeing things like this I find are quite inspirational.
That is cool.
But there's something about the colours that put together. So the last one I wanted to share, just really simply, I'd love to play one of these. It's an all aluminium base. And what I like about them is they seem to have one sort of design. It doesn't vary very much, but they have lots of different colors options for it. So
Yeah.
as you go up, you see it just sort of the same shape or very slight variations on the shape with different colors in it.
Man, that'd be hard to make.
There might be a photo. There it is. There's a photo of the body before it's done.
Wow. And
I wonder how that affects the sound and what that sounds like, if it does at all.
yeah, I'd be interested to know.
These ones are wooden. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, again, another one in the feed that I always just like seeing when a new color appears.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at more builders on Instagram.
How do I stop? There it is.
'Cause I spend too much time on YouTube, and not everybody's there. Not everybody's. But way back when, that's where I got most of my inspiration. But way back when, I don't think I was even on Instagram. And Facebook groups. There's a Facebook group or two that I was on for quite some time, but it's just not. It's just not an awesome platform for this type of thing. Instagram is fantastic for this. But, YouTube, when you actually got real content of people building, so, you don't just have ideas, you see building ideas and technique ideas and tool ideas and, things like that.
Yeah, each platform has its own use, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, Instagram is just the visual, flip through it quickly. I love that image, bookmark it, look, maybe go and look more at that builder, and then quite often it's just the images that are a bit of inspiration. But you're right, with a lot of the YouTube, it's giving me ideas of how to make things.
Yeah, well, and jigs and tools too, a lot of the time.
Yeah. I think that's why I didn't like Twitter, because it was people giving opinions. That's what it felt like. Lots of commentary. I tried to get into that. I remember years ago when Twitter first started being a thing, and I thought, you're limited. It's a message board, but you're limited to 120 characters. Why is that cool? What's special about that? I always thought it was stupid. I've tried to get into it, and I can't for the life of me find a valid use for it. I just can't. TikTok for a little while took over for me, but I realized the other day I haven't been on it for about a month, so that's good. I think, because that was just hammering home videos in my face for hours and hours on end that I didn't necessarily want to watch but couldn't help watching.
When I run out of all other things to do, I'll open TikTok, but my feed is filled with nothing but stupid, funny stuff. It's just comedy.
Mine somehow seems to be filled with a mix of politics, police pulling people over. I don't know why that's been recommended to me. Obviously, I like watching them and seeing people argue with the police for some reason. Didn't think that's something I'd like to watch. But the other day it was massive dogs just kept getting fed towards me. So those big XL bully, scary things.
Actually, a lot of my Instagram feed now is cats and puppies, and I don't even know how that came about.
Yeah, you watch one or two, and then it happens. Yeah.
I've had a rash of videos about babies showing up too.
Your AI device is trying to force you to do stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, their algorithm seems to be a little wacky, but then again, it works because I'm watching these stupid cat videos thinking, I'm not even a cat person.
Yeah, so my family are trying to get me to, well, I've agreed we're going to get a dog at some point soon. But as a result, they just kept bombarding me with dog videos, and now a lot of dog videos.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. Is America like? Are you quite pet orientated dogs and cats.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I hadn't really thought about it at all until I lived in Japan for some time. And, space is a premium. Everybody's got a washing machine for their clothes, but nobody has a dryer. Everybody hang dries just because space is more important than that luxury,
Yeah.
So I would see people, with dogs, and I'm thinking, my God, that poor animal, they have to walk them multiple times a day or it'd just be a miserable existence because there's just no room for them, and we in America tend to take for granted how much space we have. Everybody's got a big yard and plenty of room. Most of the houses, at least in Texas, are not, they're one story, no basement. It's just big and spread out because we have that space. I lived in Kansas for some time, and there were a lot of Germans settled there, and all of the houses are real close together, and they're all two-story, and most of them were basement. But that wasn't by necessity. That was just what they were used to when they started building.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, because when I moved here, it's surrounded by lots of open fields. So loads of people have dogs. There's just so much space to walk. Yeah.
Well, they need room to run around and have some fun. So.
Yeah, see, look, I'm turning into a person that talks about animals. That's never happened before. It's a combination of my family and Instagram.
Yeah.
Me into liking dogs.
Yeah, well, age does weird things to you.
Yeah, age as well. Cool. So, look, if anyone is keen in the future to join in the chat with us, we're always up for someone to come on. And we're open to trying different times and different days if that helps as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think my initial thought before we actually, because I don't know, sometime last year I thought, wouldn't it be great if we, put some little type of live stream thing together? Just didn't know how to do it. But, and I didn't think about anybody in particular being a mainstay, just 2 or 3 of us just happened to get together on this episode and, whatever. It's just branded as, Guitar Builders Collective. So when we did start up, I thought, we can rotate people in and out. And,
yeah, totally. I hadn't even considered that time zones were going to start becoming an issue. So there's more reason to rotate people in and out.
I never would have guessed until, a week or two ago when this came up that daylight savings actually occurs in other countries, or that they do it different and at different times.
Yeah.
I never would have guessed.
Yeah. But it'd be great to get different people in. I think we've got a kind of limit to how many people will regularly be taking part in chats and watching. Like the views seem to range between 150 and 200. I don't think it's going to get that much bigger because that's the amount of people that are interested. So having people rotating around, it's just going to be, as someone said, or a few people said, it's just like having a chat with friends. I'm sure the more people that rotate round, the more variations of the same chat we can have. Yeah.
Well, and you might find some magical combination of people that just have the character that sparks a lot of interest. I don't know.
I'm trying to get in contact with a few more of the invitationals for the Great Guitar Build-Off to invite them along as well. Cool. Again, it might be odd times to suit them.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Great. Well, in that case, let's say goodbye.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Oh, it's cat chat. I thought it was someone asking to take part at 6 a.m. Yeah, cat's waking you up. Oh, yeah, the thought of... well, anyway, I'm my mind's now catastrophizing of having a dog here and it being an extra thing, and we've already got the neighbour's dog that comes and does its stuff in our garden. I guess when it's your own dog, it's not as bad.
It's always, tough for a certain amount of time. You know, a lot of people don't. People that get one for the first time, they don't have a clue what they're getting into.
Yeah, that's me.
You really need to be home a lot for.
Yeah, well, luckily I am. So
at least for a little while. With a puppy, most people don't know. You just once an hour or maybe two, just take it out, walk it around until it actually does go to the bathroom. Tell it what a fucking awesome, dog it is, and then go in the house. A couple weeks of that, and they get housebroken, and it's really not that hard. But you got to be around to do it. You have to take them out, every hour or so, and just walk them until they actually do. And, they get the picture. Okay, this is where I'm supposed to go. That's one of the biggest things, unless you've got one that really likes to eat shoes or something. How to deal with those problems, I don't exactly know, but it seems like every dog I've had, at one point I got super mad and just scared the shit out of it. And from that day forward, it was, a good dog. It would go hide if you even whispered a cuss word. Maybe ruling behavior is the best way to do things, but it works with dogs.
Cool. All right. Well, I will go away and contemplate dogs and guitars.
And I'm going to go to work.
We'll have fun.
Make software magic.
Yeah.
Thanks for showing up, guys.